it's crazy when you notice. It's crazy the statements that many companies come out with, and also the recognition of things that they're short-sighted on. Always in the past, suddenly they get it once it becomes popular or at least acceptable enough to get it. They never didn't get it. They never were clueless to the plight of people within their company. They were never clueless to the fact that they had one black person in the entire building of 1,000 people. They were never clueless to the fact that in the meeting they ignored certain folks. They never were clueless to the fact that when they point out, hey, there's no audience for that. Of course they know there's an audience for that. They just don't think it's going to be palatable enough. They don't want to invest the money in it. It's too risky because there's a gauge on our society as a country. I say this about Donald Trump all the time. Every time he does these extremely racist things, he's floating another test balloon to be like, is the country still as racist as I believe it is? Because it's working for me. Let me go ahead and see if they're as racist as I thought. And as they continue to, they'll continue to act accordingly. As the country begins to act differently, people have to, companies, executives, politicians have to start acting differently. And they didn't get a new playbook. They just start saying it. They always knew.
Yep, they knew Aunt Jemima was racist. They were quick on that. They knew. Because we all have known these things. So as far as I'm concerned, you're absolutely right. Everybody knows.
Right. It's people want to get greater later. People, and again, I think what I've realized too is that if it's going to affect their bottom line, you cannot. The positive here is that people are put on notice, and we're now in a space to where, okay, fine.
Something in terms of the bottom line, research has continually showed that having more diverse individuals among your ranks, whether it's gender, sexual identity, sexual orientation, race, that can be a huge generator of increased revenue and income that will improve your bottom line. Yeah. So these companies have no excuse for not including us. The only reason they're not is because they don't want to give up that position at the top of the totem pole. This is not about them losing money. This is about them losing societal power by giving us an opportunity to use our voice, to have our seat at the table, and that is the problem.
Adrienne, you're right. You are right about but everything you said. I echo 100%. And it's just like I said, a lot of these companies are being performative, and they're realizing that if we don't engage in this, we're gonna look bad. And back to what you were saying earlier, Aunt Jemima has been the most offensive thing. Uncle Ben has been the most offensive thing for decades. And all of a sudden, in the last 72 hours, let's just remove it. It's ridiculous. But because they're getting greater later, fine. We will take that. But it bothers me because it's not coming from a place of authenticity. Really, it's not. And when you see all these like black boxes and all these people who they've known, and even in your workspaces, when you've had conversations about blackness in your workspaces to people, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know what to say," or they don't even respond, or emails go unanswered. It's just like, what are we seeing here? But all of a sudden now everyone's like, you know what? I see you, and it's just I'm worried of that. And I'm all for having the conversation like, okay, well, this has been a problem for forever. Tell me why, or has been a problem for many a month in certain instances in the workplace. Tell me why now you want to see me, why you want to help me understand. Yeah. Because the trauma, going back to that word, is the trauma is that we've had to wonder why they don't see us. And that is traumatic. We've had to wonder why I don't have the support I need. We've had to wonder why there is a lack of this that shows my people in these outfits, in these spaces, in these on these platforms. So I think explanations need to be had in regards to what's happening. And people are like, someone said, you should be happy this is happening. No, I should not be happy this is happening. I'm outraged and alarmed that this is happening. And I want reasons to why it's taken this long to have these conversations. And we're owed that. And it's not about being the bitchy gay black guy or the angry black woman or the brutal black man. It's just, we deserve answers. Right.
Yeah, our ancestors, our even mothers and fathers, grandparents and great-grandparents, the things that they went through and experienced, I've thought about it so many times about what would I have done? What would my reaction have been in 1960 in the middle of madness? What would I have done, me who I am right now? What would I have done then, considering all the brave people and what they did? They spoke for us and they've gotten us to where we are now. It's time for also us to speak for them and be like, how come you guys screwed them over for so long then?
Right.
Because we're going to end this and we're speaking for them. Many of them that aren't here anymore and many of them who are still hanging on and are super old and are looking for some kind of change. You should have seen the lines of people that I saw in 2008 when everyone was voting for Obama and the excitement and happiness people had before they even did it. So there's things that people want that we need to all come together to do. And my last point, I know again we're way over, but back to the question that many white folks or non-black people asked us, what do we do now? The protests are happening. Tell me what to do. So as far as this business part, or at least calling out corporations and companies and representation for people of color, white folks have to care about it just as much as black folks do. So Adrienne, you sent that email or that request or that question today. Hey, we need a white lady in Minnesota to send that same thing and be like, you know what? There's no black representation on the television I'm seeing. There's no representation on the reports that I'm seeing. There's no representation when I go in and get my something important, go to a technology store. I'm not seeing enough people that know stuff about what is happening. It could be that small. If you go into Best Buy and you're asking about Macs, and you need a Mac expert, not the same Best Buy. I'm not calling out Best Buy specifically, but if there's no one of any other kind of representation, they may have different experiences or actually know what's going on with this particular thing. So white folks have to care about it just as much as we do. That's when shifts change in workplace, discrimination and bias.
Agreed.
Absolutely,
and I think,
they have to be invested.
Yeah. And they have to feel it's important enough. And as we mentioned 3 times, they know it's important. They just have to be forced to say so.
Right.
Any other final thoughts? Did I miss anything you guys wanted to say?
No, I think that we are in a very unprecedented time. Never in my life have I witnessed something of this magnitude. I feel like 2020 has been, whoever it is, the divine one, God, the universe, has sat us all down. First, kept us at home, kept us present to witness what is happening. And I think that this is just the beginning. This hasn't even reached a fever pitch, and I'm excited to see where we are a year from now, 2 years from now, and the changes in so many different sectors, private sectors, entertainment, businesses, and just in humanity. I'm excited. I'm hopeful for.
Jason, come on, boy. You know, they ain't gonna be 2 years from now. This is a rapture. This stuff is here. The 4 horsemen, they are about to ride through. This is the end. No, but I agree with you. This has been a very monumental time, and it will be cool to see where we are in the future. I do want to give a quick shout out to Save the Neurotypicals. It's a wonderful Twitter account it's a nice jest account in terms of the difference between us individuals with neurodiversity. And and they backed me today in standing up, and I appreciate that. And
you know what, Adrienne, I'm glad you brought that up because it reminded me. Also, back up the children that are dealing with these types of discriminations in school. The type of folks that are seen as troublemakers because of who they are, and they're just 8 to 10 years old and figuring this out for themselves. This is their only life. This is their only brain. This is their only experience, and they're perfectly fine. So there's no, hey, get this kid out of my classroom. There's no, hey, these other kids are being disturbed or interrupted. They need the diversity of workplace, which starts in schools, is a learning experience not only for the person who you deem as a bad person, but also for the other people that you think are, quote, regular people. They need to be educated about there's other people in the world that are not like them, and many times they're better than you in many ways. And you need to know that you're not better than them. There's no totem pole. So when you see someone and a teacher tells them, hey, so Johnny's got to get out of here because he keeps doing this, this, and that, all the other kids in class are seeing that and are watching this authority figure do that, and they will grow up to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. It needs to change from the beginning, so you don't have to have these fights at 30 years old rather than at 7. Yeah. Especially, and I have a kid, and these battles happen, man. These battles happen daily. We have to almost be in the office having these battles, and it's senseless.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, Jayar. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.